Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be looking into your shadow self. So just as a disclaimer, this video is not meant to offend or trigger anyone. This is simply meant to illuminate your shadow and bring awareness to this side of yourself. So we have 4 groups. Here's group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. While you guys are deciding, I do want to mention that I am offering personal readings if that's something you're interested in. The link for that is in the description box below. But if you need more time, go ahead and pause the video. I have timestamps listed below as well. We're going to go ahead and get started with group 1. Hi, group 1. Okay, so let's take a look at your shadow. We're going to start off with your oracle cards. And we have card number 22, I Won't Cry for You. I'm solely looking at the shadow attribute on these cards. So it says compulsive need to keep moving on. Amusement, card number 38. Let love grow, card number 14. Forgiveness, reducing burden. And radical honesty, card number 18. It says, to believe in the facade is to suffocate in the armor of alienation, self-defeat, and self-denial. Okay, so you guys do not believe in love. I think that's like the part of your shadow that really drives a lot of your actions, specifically in the love department, obviously, but this is a side of yourself that is very dark, and as a result of this perspective that you have on love, like it drives you to take actions in love that aren't really for the highest good of you or anyone else involved. So, okay. Honestly, like this is kind of weird, but the vibe that I'm getting from this pile, it reminds me so much of Beauty and the Beast, with you guys being the beast. And what I mean by this is that if you think about the story, he gets cursed, right? And he turns into a beast, and it's kind of it's meant for him to like never find love, right? Because he used to be this like gorgeous, handsome Prince Charming, and now he's this like big ugly beast. But at the end of the day, like I feel like he held so much like hatred and anger and resentment in his heart that it kind of prevented him from letting love in, because he felt unlovable, and that was kind of the whole point of being cursed. But at the same time, like that doesn't mean that love isn't possible. But, you know, he would just push people away. Like he literally had love knocking on his door, like with Belle, like trying to find her dad, remember? But he's like, no, you need to leave, like get out of here. Even though he was like having these feelings for her, he just felt like he was so like damaged and unlovable. It's like he could no longer believe that love was possible for him because of what he'd gone through. And so I feel like there's something similar to that, like going on for you guys. It's like whatever you've been through in the past, it's caused you to put this armor on. And as you can see, like in this image, she kind of has like a scar on her face. So it's like you're wearing this armor for a reason. It's like you don't want to let people in. You don't want to get hurt again. Because whatever you've gone through, it's just totally killed your belief in love, like period. It's like you don't even think it's possible. You think it's not real. I don't know what you've gone through, but like clearly it's completely shattered like any like positive image of love for you. So on this card, it says the shadow attribute is the compulsive need to keep moving on. So I feel like it's not like you guys like shut yourself away from the world or anything. I do think that you still entertain connections to a certain extent, maybe to a sexy extent, just because we have all these naked ladies on this card. But I feel like once that aspect is fulfilled, it's like, okay, I gotta move on to the next. It's like because you don't want love feelings to grow. It's like, you know, that it's like if you keep dealing with a certain person or a situation like for too long, then, you know, either feelings are going to develop or there are going to be certain expectations, you know, in that department. So it's like you kind of like snap yourself out of it. You're like, okay, I got what I wanted. I need to move on, you know, before things get messy. But then we also have this I won't cry for you card. So I do feel like this has to do with like the disappointment that maybe the people you've dealt with in the past have faced. And so this is kind of like you. It's like, I won't cry for you, but I don't, it's not because you're, you know, not like a kind person or anything. It's not, you're not an asshole. It's really not about that. It's just, it's like you don't even want to like empathize with them or even show that you care because like you feel like even by doing that, you're kind of entering into this space like where love exists. And so it's like you don't even want to like go there, let alone, you know, show love feelings. But you kind of lump all of these things together. And so it's like you can't even show empathy for the people that you hurt, really. Yeah. So let's see. We have this radical honesty card. It says, to believe in the facade is to suffocate in the armor of alienation, self defeat, and self denial. So it's like you really don't want to believe in love. It's because you view it as something that only hurts people. It's like you don't believe that like a positive outcome can come from it. You know, and again, that's why she's wearing like all this armor. It's like you really do put this, you know, metaphorical armor around yourself because you don't want to show people your heart. It's like you don't want to show people that it even exists. Like, obviously, it's there. We all have a heart, but you don't want people to see that it even exists. That's how, like, guarded you are. It's like you can't even acknowledge that it's there, let alone talk about it or have feelings. But by doing this, you are only going to end up alienating yourself from any possibility of love happening for you. And I mean, it seems like that's the goal for your actions here. I mean, obviously that's what you want. But this is the shadow side of yourself. It's like you don't even, whatever you've gone through has contributed to you not believing that love is real or possible. But with this forgiveness card, you're really being encouraged to forgive whatever it is that you've gone through that has resulted in you becoming this way. And because by doing so, you will be reducing this burden that you place on yourself. Like, this is all created by you as a defense mechanism of not being hurt. But at the same time, it's like, okay, great, no one else is hurting you, but you're hurting yourself, like, in the process, because it's like you can entertain like all of these people, but you still end up like feeling alone and alienated, even though you're doing it to yourself. And it's ugh, I don't like this, but it's like you see people as more of like an amusement for you than like having a real human connection with someone. It's like you can't even do that. But by forgiving your past and everything that you've gone through, you can start to like regain, an optimistic outlook on love again, because it is possible for you. It's not like you're unlovable or anything. This is the belief that you've given yourself. And so if you continue to believe these things and think this way, it's like you're never going to end up with love, like with anyone. I hope this is making sense. But ultimately, if this is something that you want to change, if this is becoming like too much of a burden for you to keep up, you're going to have to forgive. That's what this is saying. Whoever hurt you, whatever happened to you growing up, you have to forgive them in that situation. Because you have to realize like whatever happened was not a personal attack on you. Unfortunately, you were just on the receiving end of whatever that person was going through at the time. And whatever they picked up along the way in their life, they kind of project that on you. But yeah, so whatever you went through, like, it has nothing to do with you and being like unlovable or unworthy. Like, the way that you were treated in the past, like, had anyone else been in your position at that time, at that place, they would have gotten the same treatment. It has nothing to do with you. So, yeah, your guidance is to forgive, whatever contributed to you becoming this way, and to ultimately let love grow, like allow it to blossom in your life. You haven't been allowing that to happen. You've been pushing everyone away. Because you don't want to get hurt. That's really what it comes down to. It's like you don't trust people with your heart. But yeah, at some point when you're ready, you can let love grow. Like, you have to allow that to happen. So yeah, this is really like up to you. But this is your shadow self. You push people away. You feel like you have to keep moving on because you don't want to be stuck in a situation where people are going to expect more from you. Because you just don't want to put your heart on the line at the end of the day. It's too risky for you. And you've become so guarded to the point where you shy away from making any genuine connections with people, let alone a love connection. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the tarot. Ooh, these are big cards. Okay, I have to shuffle these differently. I haven't used this deck very often, so I'm kind of excited. What is this? This is the Starman Tarot. It's like David Bowie themed. Okay, let's see. This one. Okay, we have the King of Swords, the Princess of Swords. This would be the Page of Swords, the Alien. What card is this? I think this is the Hermit. The Three of Cups, And oh, the Starman. That's the Magician. And then the Princess of Cups on the bottom of the deck, so Page of Cups. Okay, let's see. Okay, with the I didn't know that this card was called the Alien in this deck. So it's kind of funny. With the Alien coming out in the middle here, and this is the Hermit because it's card number 9. Yeah, this, like, you've clearly like been on a solo journey for quite some time here, because it seems like you would rather walk alone than risk, you know, being with someone and potentially being hurt by that person. So, yeah, you spend a lot of time alone. And it looks like he's literally in a cave. So it's like you might hole yourself up in a man cave or something like that, or lady cave. It's like you really embrace your alone time because it's where you feel safe. Nobody can hurt you from the outside world. And then we have this King of Swords, which I'm not surprised at all that he showed up, just because the King of Swords can be very detached from his feelings and his heart space. He really dwells like within the mind, the mental. So I feel like that's just where you feel more comfortable being is in that like mental space. It's like you don't even want to go to where love grows. Like, no, thank you. But yeah, so I feel like you do come off with this really like cool and detached exterior. I feel like that's just all you're comfortable showing. It's like you don't even want to show people that you have feelings at all, ever. It's like, what? No feelings here. Like, what are you talking about? I don't have feelings. And then we have this Page of Swords. So, yes, like again, like with the Hermit, like I just feel like you're much more comfortable kind of like hanging back like from a situation, and again, like being very detached. It's like you would much rather watch people from a distance and not really get involved. There's just this really big like detached energy like coming through. So with the Page of Swords, it's like, for example, you might have a crush on someone, but instead of kind of like reaching out to them and like kind of offering something or even showing that you're like interested, it's like you're scared to even flirt with people. So yeah, instead of doing that, it's like you'd much rather like stalk their social media than have like a real conversation with them, because you don't even want them to know that you're interested. It's all about like safety for you. Like that's what it comes down to. And I don't know if you've like realized that or not, but that's what it is. Because by staying like out of situations, you know, by being in the comfort of your own home or wherever you are and like just watching people on social media or whatever you do, you're safe. You know, you're not interacting. You're not, there's no potential for failure when you're, you know, it's like you're doing your own thing still. Okay, and then we have this Three of Cups. So, oh my gosh, I did not realize they were all like naked ladies. You have naked ladies like coming out a couple times now. So, again, this kind of goes along with this card perfectly because it's like, okay, this makes sense. It's like you would rather entertain like multiple situations at the same time, because it's like if you only entertain one, then either you're scared that you're gonna like develop feelings for that person if you give like all of your time and energy to them, as opposed to like splitting it up. Yeah, either, I don't remember where I was going with that, but yeah, so I feel like you could come off as like a player, and it might look like to the outside world that you only like deal with like multiple people for your own amusement, for your own gain, for your own entertainment. And, you know, maybe that's not, maybe you wouldn't agree with that, or maybe you would, but it's not really about that at the end of the day. That's not what this reading is about. It's about, you know, getting much deeper than that. And yeah, so it's like by entertaining like multiple situations, I feel like it makes you feel safer because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. It's like you're not putting your heart on the line with one person. And so, like, if it doesn't work out with that one person, even though you're clearly not pursuing anything long term, it's like it won't hurt as bad if things don't work out with that person. And then we have the Starman. And this is the Magician in this deck. So I'm looking at this card right now, and I mean, all of these cards are pretty chaotic, but he has his eyes closed, and there's like multiple things like up in the ether there that either he's like dreaming about or thinking about. And this card is just making me think like you really could have anything and everything that you could ever want, like out of a love situation. Like it's you that is like holding that back or not allowing it in. But like the possibilities are endless. Like it's all there. It's like you really can have anything that you could ever want, like out of this. But his eyes are closed. So it's like, I feel like this is more of a like a subconscious thing for you where I feel like you do want love, like, but you're choosing to be blind to it. It's a choice for you to not let it in. Honestly, though, like, I do feel like this is something you would want, like, subconsciously because of how hard you're fighting it, honestly. Like, just the fact that, like, this came out, clearly you do have, like, a lot of love inside of you. You have so much, though, that you're scared to, like, give it out because it's like you're afraid that it won't be reciprocated, or you're afraid that it'll be taken advantage of, or that you'll be hurt. And this fear is really what's holding you back, and it's what's driving all of this in your love life. There's a lot of fear, and it's not, you know, obviously it's not coming from nowhere. Like, this is stemming from, you know, something in your past where it just, something really hurt you and it totally changed your perspective on love. And at some point you decided that you needed to close off and be guarded and wear your armor and not let love grow. You know, only entertain connections to a certain extent, but not show that you have any feelings. They're there, you just don't acknowledge them, and you don't want other people to know that you have them. We have this Page of Cups at the bottom. So I feel like there is like a part of you that like wants to, like, I definitely couldn't see you kind of like diving headfirst into like a love thing. I think it's definitely going to take baby steps for you to do that, like if you ever did. But with this Page of Cups at the bottom, it's like there is a side of you that wants to like be more open and flirty and more expressive about your feelings. And I think that tends to like come up within you sometimes, but then it's like you have this quick realization. You're like, oh no, no, we're not doing that. And then you just like stuff it back down. So it's like you have this realization that you're not like, oh no, no, I'm the king of swords. We don't do that. That's not how we operate. So it's like you're wearing this facade like throughout life. Like, really, it's like this is all you're choosing to do this. It's like you're choosing to come off as like cold and detached and like you don't have feelings. And honestly, like normally when that's the case, like, in people, that's usually when they have the most feelings. So there's a reason you're doing this. And it's just like you feel safer being alone and in your man or lady cave than risk putting yourself out there and potentially getting hurt. So this is your shadow. This is your dark side. This is what you do in an effort to protect yourself. But yeah, if or when you're ready to make changes, forgiveness is key. You really gotta forgive what happened to you in the past and not let it define your lovability or worthiness. Because what happened to you is not personal to you. That was just that other person or people projecting their own issues onto you. So yeah, I think that's all that I have for you, Group 1. I hope that this was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Hi, Group 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at your shadow. So for your Oracle cards, we have Black Flower Fragrance, card number 16. The Gambler, and the shadow attribute on this card says relying on luck rather than hard work. Solar Return, card number 24. Hex, be still and allow the enemy to reveal themselves, card number 12. Owl, wise seeing, wise action. And Weeping Wound, you are not your wounds, card number 8. Okay, so I needed to sit with these cards for a minute just because I felt like they're a little all over the place. But yeah, we have a few things going on here. Right off the bat, I feel like you guys think or believe that there is something wrong with you. And I don't know if like you fully realize or understand like why you think this. And I think that's kind of why like I needed a minute to like figure this out, because I don't think you guys have really figured it out. And so yeah, because I'm getting like different like aspects here. It's just not, there's just a lot more going on like under the surface. And I don't think that you guys are even aware of a lot of this. And I don't know, like I didn't really expect people to be like fully aware or cognizant of their shadow aspects like going into this video. But at the same time, like I feel like people do generally know like where they're not really, the best. But you guys, I don't think you really understand like yourself enough to know why you do the things that you do. I think you're still kind of on that journey and kind of going through the process of figuring yourself out and why you are the way that you are. Um, yeah, like I said, there's a lot going on here. So I don't even know where to start. Okay. Um, yeah, like I said, you do feel like there is something wrong with you. But here's the thing. It's like I think like in your mind it's like you just feel like you're different or that like people wouldn't be able to understand you. Yeah, cuz with this black flower fragrance, it's like this is kind of like a weird card to interpret just because of the name, but it's like you come off different. It's like you feel like there's something like dark about you or or like misunderstood. But with this like full moon like coming out on the side, it's not a full moon on every card in this deck. It's they're all like different moon phases. It's like you want people to know this about you. But people aren't going to be able to understand this. And honestly, I feel like the reason why is because you don't fully understand it yourself. So nobody else is really going to know what to make of this. Um, and then we also have this weeping wound card. It says, "You are not your wounds." So, yeah, whatever is going on with this, it's a lot deeper than that. Like, you're not just different or misunderstood. I feel like a lot of these feelings that you're having, it stems a lot deeper than that. I think maybe you place like too much of your identity or feeling that you are this way like on like past wounds. You're beginning to like identify too much with them and you're making that like a part of like who you are when it's not like really. It's like you are who you are regardless of the things that happen to you. And yes, like the experiences that we go through like do alter our perspective on life. But it's like you're taking on these wounds like too much and you're kind of allowing them to define who you are. And you shouldn't have to do that. And that's why like you're coming out as this black flower like fragrance card. It's like there's something wrong with you when there's not. Okay. And then we also have this solar return card. So again, it's like where there is the sun, and the sun would be your identity in this example. It's like you're choosing not to show that. It's like you're covering that up with your darkness instead. But again, it's like you want people to see that because the sun is everywhere. The sun is what we see when it's out. But you're like covering it up with the darkness. So it's like you're comfortable with people seeing this side of yourself. But I think there's just a big, things are just not, I think you guys have a lot of work to do to figure out why you are the way you are and um, yeah, a lot about your identity going on here. Okay. And then we also have Hex, be still and allow the enemy to reveal themselves. So it's interesting because we have two cards here where She's wearing a mask in this card, but you can't really see her eyes. And in this card, he's wearing a blindfold. So again, you're not seeing like everything. And that's why I'm having a hard time like deciphering these cards, because I'm trying to see the things, the parts of yourself that you haven't fully seen yet or like put together. So anyway, be still and allow the enemy to reveal themselves. Maybe you guys like jump to conclusions like too soon a lot of the time, because this is saying like allow people to reveal themselves. Yeah. So maybe you're quick to like judge people or think that they're, one way when they're really not. A little bit of like paranoia coming through on that card. And we also have Owl. Wise seeing, wise action. Okay, so this kind of goes with this card. It's like where her eyes are covered up with the mask, the eyes are like fully open here. So this is saying like you don't really need to like take action until you really see what's actually going on. Like see things for what they are instead of like jumping to conclusions or just assuming things about people and situations. You really have to let people show that to you in their own time. And then once that happens, then you can make like the appropriate actions or assumptions or conclusions, about this situation. But I think that's just something you guys need to know or be careful about, is just not jumping to conclusions when it comes to people. Let them show you what their intentions are before you make any like judgments. And we have this gambler card. It says relying on luck rather than hard work. So I feel like you guys just kind of like float through life a little bit. You don't really, I don't know, you just kind of hope that things will work out for you rather than like taking things into your own hands and like making it work out for you. You just kind of hope for the best. And you're just like, well, we'll see what happens. We'll see where this goes. And then if it doesn't go where you want it to go, you end up being disappointed. But at the same time, it's because you didn't really put in the work that was necessary to like keep it around. So just watch out for that. Because I feel like that could be a pattern for you guys if you're not more cognizant of that. Because this is something that you do. You don't really strive to maintain things in your life. You just kind of hope that everything works out for the best. And you hope, the things and people that you want to stick around, but you don't always put in the effort to make that happen. And so when things kind of float out of your life, you might feel disappointed, like, oh, why didn't that work out for me? It's like, oh, well, you didn't really do your part. So yeah, definitely be aware of that. Let's see. Okay, I want to go ahead and get into your tarot, and maybe this will help me understand. All right, group 2. Okay, we have the 7 of Cups, the 9 of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, Death, and the 4 of Cups. And we have the Star at the bottom of the deck. Okay, yeah, we have the 7 of Cups. So I feel like you guys can tend to be in fantasy land a little bit sometimes. Um, and you're not always like able to kind of ground the things that you're fantasizing about. So I think that's like another thing. And again, this goes back to like the hard work. It's like you'd rather like fantasize about it and hope for the best than like put in the effort necessary to make it a reality. We have this Queen of Swords like coming out in the middle. So this is very interesting. I feel like this is like you in this reading. I feel like you're very smart and you have all the tools like necessary for you to like really go places in life, but you just have to actually like buckle down and do it. I feel like you guys have like a very rich imagination. Just because of like everything going on in this card. And all of these cards are chaotic, but oh, we have an owl like coming through again. You have owls coming through. So that might be significant for you or mean something to you. We have an owl, a book. She's holding like a rusty sword with blood on it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. But yeah, you guys are very smart. You really could do anything that you wanted. It's all about just kind of putting in the effort to make things happen. I think you can easily like lose yourself in the fantasy side of things. But let's see. So we have the Nine of Pentacles. And this is all about like living like an abundant life and having everything that you've ever wanted, but making that happen for yourself. Like this is a card all about being independent and kind of building things up like from the ground up here and like kind of enjoying the fruits of your labor. And so this is just reaffirming like you can get to this place, but you have to do everything necessary to get there. You have what it takes. Then we also have death. I feel like okay. I feel like you're very comfortable with like letting things end in your life and like kind of starting over. I feel like this is something that happens a lot for you guys. And this, I'm not talking about like people or anything in particular. I think this is kind of general where things or situations will just end, or it's like you'll end them like too quickly. You'll just like pick up and move on. Before anything can really come out of it. You're way too comfortable with death. Not literally, but just ending things. So I feel like if you're not making a whole lot of progress in life, this is why. Because you end things too quickly. You end things before anything can really come out of it. Then we have the Four of Cups. Okay. I'm looking at the image on this card because all of these cards are crazy. So he's kind of like holding his head in his hands, and all of these cups, all four of them, are spilled over, and two of them are like kind of spilling out onto him. Okay. Yeah, this goes along with the Death card. I feel like your life, like you have and have had so many opportunities in life, but then you don't really appreciate them. It's like maybe you do appreciate them, but you don't really like see their value enough to hold on to them. And so you end up ending things, or you end up leaving, or sabotaging things And it really only hurts you in the end. You're the one that ends up hurting because you had something good and you destroyed it. So, yeah. We have the star on the bottom of the deck here. Again, like with this star and the Queen of Swords, like I feel like you have so much potential. It's crazy, but it's like you self-sabotage. Like that's what this is. Like, and I don't know if you realize that you're doing that until after the fact. But at the same time, like you yourself, you could be a star. You know, with this Queen of Swords energy, it's like you have the intelligence. You're very, you're able to see things in a way that like other people don't. And so I feel like you could easily use that to your advantage and make something of yourself in a very unique way. As long as you don't sabotage things, you really do get in your own way. So again, like maybe you guys think that there's something wrong with you and you're kind of letting this subconscious belief get in the way of like anything being successful for you because you feel like you're not that person. Like you feel like you're dark and you're different, and it's like I shouldn't. I don't know, it's hard to describe. But ultimately, you self sabotage like a lot of the things in your life. And I think that you place too much identity like in your wounds. Like it's great. You should definitely acknowledge them and be aware of like how they alter your like perspective and the way that you approach situations, but by identifying too much with them, you're kind of merging with them, and then you kind of end up with this new identity that isn't really you. And so then you end up coming off or like believing that you are this like dark being, or like there's something wrong with you when there isn't. It's like you're identifying way too much with your wounds. And I know I've said that a lot. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think you are like amazing and you have so much potential. But then like by showing the world this side of yourself where you're like, no, like I'm dark and damaged and different, you're kind of setting things up to not work out for you. Oh my gosh. You're really going to be like your own downfall. Like if this doesn't change. I think you guys really need to work on yourself, because I just don't see this going in a good direction. Like if you're not able to understand this better within yourself, I think you will be your own demise ultimately, because you're identifying way too much with these parts of yourself that you feel are wrong or damaged. That doesn't define you. Like, that's not who you are. You're amazing. You're a star in your own right. Don't let yourself be defined by the things that have happened to you or the things that you feel are wrong. Because you have so much potential and you're way better than this. And you're only gonna set yourself up for failure. And it's gonna come from you. You keep sabotaging things. And then it's like, but then you feel bad for yourself. Like, why did this happen? Why does this always happen to me? It comes from you. So I think you guys have a lot of introspection to do. So, okay, wow, I'm really glad that I did this reading for you guys. I hope that this was helpful. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Hi, group 3. Okay, so let's take a look at your shadow. So for your oracle cards, we have Naked Before the Stars, card number 18. King, and the shadow attribute on this card is excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. Like a Bubble, card 45. Solitude, alone but not lonely, 31. Hearth, happiness in our hearts and homes. And Strength of Vulnerability, card number 4. It says, true power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. Okay, so let's see. Right off the bat, I'm getting that you guys probably feel the most comfortable at home. And I know that's the case for most people, right? But with this King card and the Hearth, it's like you're the king of the castle. Like, that's what I'm getting immediately. Very Borat, king of the castle. But that's like your sanctuary. That's like, I feel like that's the place where you feel like you have the most control in your life, because it's like you're safe, you're at peace, like you're calm. It's just like, it's such a calm and peaceful like space for you, like being at home, that I feel like that's where you gain the most peace for you, just because you have that control. And that's not really a shadow aspect, but that's coming through like right off the bat. But yeah, so it says excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. So maybe you guys are like, I don't know, like if you live alone or if you live with like other people, but you for sure like are the king of the castle. Like everything is your way, under your roof. You know what I mean? And that's how you like it to be. So I think that's why like being at home like makes you so happy and secure, is just because like you know that you have like total control over your environment in that space, where you know in other situations you don't have that kind of control. Like if you were like in a work setting somewhere, you know, I mean, unless you were literally the boss, then you're not going to have that sense of control. So I think that's why like you like being at home so much. You know, I don't know if you've realized that or not, but it's because you get to have that control, and that control is really what brings you like peace. So I think control, like right off the bat, is like a theme for you guys. Let's see. Then we also have solitude, alone but not lonely. So I don't know, like maybe you're single, maybe you live alone. There's some aspect of your life where you do feel alone. But at the same time, like I feel like there's something about this solitude that you enjoy. Like it gives you a sense of peace. And again, that's not really a shadow aspect. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think we're kind of getting to like the reason why like all of this is. I think you guys like have a real fear of being vulnerable with the outside world. And again, that's why like your home is like your safe space, because you can look however you're going to look. You know, nobody's going to judge you. You can do whatever you want to do, and nobody's going to see you or be able to judge you. So you guys might tend to keep yourself secluded away more than others. just because you're scared to like show people the real you. And what's really interesting is that on a lot of these cards, we have images of women where, either it's like they're showing a lot of skin, but they're not naked. And so even on this card, it says naked before the stars, but she's not naked. Like she's still wearing clothes. And on this card, it's like she looks like she's naked in the water, but again, like she's being covered up. And then same thing here. Like she might not be naked, I'm not sure, but it's like she kind of looks naked, but she's still being covered up. And then here, it's like she's wearing a dress, but she's kind of like turned away. It's like she doesn't want you to see her fully. So that's like a really strong theme coming out here. I feel like there is a part of you guys where you're kind of scared to show all of yourself to others or anyone in general. And so I think the reason why this is a shadow aspect for you is because it really comes as like a detriment to you living a fulfilling life. Because what ends up happening is that you just end up being alone again. I'm sorry if you can hear my cat. But if I let her in here, she's gonna wreak havoc on everything. So, because she is a kitten. So again, it's like you're only comfortable showing so much of yourself, like with the outside world. So I don't know if you're just not comfortable in your own skin. Maybe you don't feel like you're good looking enough, or maybe you're just scared to be vulnerable in general. When it comes to showing people like the real you and like who you are and how you operate. Maybe you feel like that's not going to be accepted. And so I think you end up kind of pushing yourself away from, any situations where you would be able to develop like genuine connections. It's like you would much rather stay safe, like at peace in your own home, because that's where you feel safe and, nobody can judge you or anything like that. But again, it comes down to like having this control. So I feel like you're probably hyper aware of like your reputation and like how you come off to the world. And I think you want to be seen in a certain light, and you don't want to do anything that could change that. You're really scared to like show the world like the real you and all of you. And so just, as an example, you might, I don't know, like, maybe a friend could be like, hey, let's go skinny dipping, everybody. And you could be like, oh yeah, sure. And then like, you're the only one who like gets down to like your bra and underwear, where everyone else, actually goes skinny dipping and ends up naked. So that's just kind of like how you are. Like as an example, it's like you're just not comfortable like going to the full extent of being vulnerable with anyone, or just with the world in general. And that's why you are such a homebody. Because you're comfortable to be who you want to be in the safety of your own home where nobody else can see. Yeah. But a big theme, like this all comes down to having that control over what people can and cannot see out of you. And again, she's like turned away in this picture. It's like she doesn't want people to see her heart or how, she truly is. It's, she's covering up that part of herself. And it says true power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. So maybe you're scared, like maybe you think like people are going to see that there's like something wrong with you, right? Like if you do show more of yourself. And I feel like this is going to be different for all of you, like in what aspect this is. Maybe for some of you, you're not comfortable with your body. And so you don't really show much skin like ever because you don't want people to judge you or think, negative thoughts about you. That could be one example, but like it could be something else too. And so where you think like people are not going to like a certain aspect of your personality or the things that you like to do in your free time, there's just some part of yourself that you're not comfortable with sharing with the world. And so like by hiding yourself away and, existing in this solitude, you're protecting that. You're exerting your own control like over your life. And there's nothing wrong with that. You have the right to do what you want to do with your life. But this is just coming out to show you that this is kind of what's happening and why you do the things that you do. I think there is a big part of you that is scared to be vulnerable with others and really let people in and show people like who you really are. It's like you want the world to see you differently than how you actually are because you're like ashamed of something about yourself. And so you're kind of letting this shame drive your actions and just ultimately like rule your life, which is sad and that's unfortunate. I think if you're able to, really embrace who you are and, own that and like share that with the world, no matter what they think or say about it, I think you would be living a lot more authentically. But let's go ahead and get into your tarot. Okay, we have the Seven of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, the Two of Wands, the Alien, and the Five of Cups. Then we have the Two of Pentacles on the bottom. Yeah, with the Two of Pentacles, like right off the bat, I really am getting that there's like one side of yourself that's like who you truly are and, how you exist and operate like on your own. But then there's this other side of yourself that you show to the world. And so you're like constantly having to like switch between the two. It's like, okay, time to be social. I need to put on my social mask and be this person tonight. Because you feel like an alien. We have the Alien card coming out, and this is the Hermit. But yeah, it's like you feel different, or you just feel like you would be misunderstood or not accepted by others. And so you feel like you have to like put on this like human mask. Just going along with the alien metaphor. It's like, all right, I got to put on my human suit and act like a human today. When like at home, it's like you're fine being your alien self, you're being different and whatever. And that's, where you're comfortable and you feel secure. But yeah, so let's see. We have the Seven of Pentacles. So, okay, I feel like you are this way for a reason, right? A lot of the things that we do, they come from prior experiences, and that's kind of what makes us the way we are. And so I feel like you are this way for a reason. And, maybe it's because, things really didn't pan out for you the way that you were hoping in the past. And so you feel like as a result of that, you have to operate differently in order to get what you want from the world. It's like, okay, well, people aren't going to accept me if I show up as this version of myself. So if I really want to make anything happen, I have to be the person that people want me to be. So let's see. We also have this Queen of Wands, which is like very, she has like, kind of like big dick energy, but for a female, right? So it doesn't matter like what gender you are, but that's kind of like the vibe for the Queen of Wands. And so maybe you feel like you're too much or something. You feel like you have to like tone down your personality or your image just to satisfy other people's expectations, which is crazy because you shouldn't have to do that. Like, you should be able to be yourself and exist that way. But yeah, we also have this Five of Cups. So I do feel like you are this way because of like disappointments from the past and things not working out for you. Like, you feel like something has happened like in your past that left you feeling really disappointed and heartbroken. And I think from that point on, you're like, okay, I can't be that person anymore, because if I continue to be that person, things aren't going to work out with me for me. Like, I'm always going to be disappointed, and so I feel like at some point you had to change. Like, you felt like you needed to change your personality in order to align with what you think people would want from you. And we have this Two of Wands. So again, there's this duality. We have the Two of Pentacles, the Two of Wands. It's like you're literally choosing, like, who am I going to be today? And again, with like the alien and the human metaphor, like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm sorry. It's not funny, but like, just, I was not expecting this at all. So yeah, it's like you're, going into different situations. You're like, okay, am I going to be, my alien self, or am I going to be my human self, and, be the person that people like expect me to be. So I wouldn't really say that this is like a shadow like side of yourself, but it is something that wants to be brought to attention, because you're just not living authentically. At the end of the day, you're not doing anything to hurt anyone, but I just feel like you're kind of hurting yourself by not allowing yourself to be you. I think there's something so special about you, like coming out as the alien. And you shouldn't have to hide yourself away because you feel like you're different, But at the same time, like, I can see why you do this, because you're, worried that if you are vulnerable and you show this side of yourself, you feel like you might be criticized or judged for it. And you don't want to feel that from others. So it's like you would much rather just kind of fit in with society's standards, and be your true self, like when you're at home. And that's why your home is your happy space, because you can be you. And it's like you're able to have the most control over your home environment. And you can't really control like what other people are going to think or do in the outside world. It's like you're really afraid of like what people are going to think of you. And it would just hurt you to not be accepted. And I think you've gone through this in the past, and so it's like now you have to, you're just like appeasing others by being like who you think they want you to be. But yeah, this is your shadow self. It's just like you're so afraid to be you. But the fact that like we have all of these like naked ladies, but they're not really naked, it's like it's like you're never really 100% comfortable with being you outside of your home, it looks like. Even though like you do have this like big, beautiful, unique energy, honestly, like the thing that just came to me, and this is not going to apply to everyone, so just FYI, I think some of you, or just as an example, you might be like a drag queen or something like that, you know? It's like, because look at the Queen of Wands, like she's all like dressed to the nines, like she's confident, she's beautiful, she's like living her most like authentic life, you know, being who she is. But then, you know, we have the alien who doesn't really have any kind of anything on, you know, he's just an alien. So I just do feel like you feel like you're different in some sense. You know, not all of you are going to be drag queens, but you feel like you're different and you feel like you can't be this big, beautiful, fun, unique version of yourself. So it's just kind of sad. And I hope that you guys are able to break past this barrier and just fully accept, you know, being you no matter what the cost. You can't please anyone, or sorry, you can't please everyone at the end of the day. So I think at some point you just gotta take the risk for what it is and just show the world, like, hey, like this is me. You know, you may not like it, but I don't care. It is what it is. So this is something that you're going to have to face at some point whenever you're ready, whenever you're comfortable to do so. But this is what, you know, is being illuminated for you now, to kind of point out, you know, why you are the way that you are and why you do the things that you do. So I think that's all that I have for you, Group 3. I hope that this was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Hi, Group 4. Okay, so let's take a look at your shadow. So starting with your oracle cards, we have Today for Tomorrow, card number 32. Hero/heroine, and the shadow attribute on this card says escapism and a false sense of heroism. Deepened, card number 51. Euphoria, honor yourself, card number 9. Skeleton with strength. And emptied, card number 24. It says the ending and beginning lie at either side of the same door. Okay. So, all right. Where do I start? You guys really, it's like you give like more of yourself to the world than to yourself. But in doing so, it's like a sense of escapism for you, because you're really being encouraged to honor yourself more than you do. And honestly, I feel like a big part of this is not acknowledging your feelings or not feeling your feelings. It's like you try to avoid that as much as possible. So it's like either you will, you know, take any opportunity to like get away from yourself. So if somebody asks you like, hey, let's hang out, or hey, I need help, it's like, okay, like immediately you say yes. But I think a big part of it is because you don't want to sit with your own thoughts and feelings. Yeah, because we have this deep end card, and you can see this mermaid is like diving deep into the ocean. So this is all about feeling your feelings. It's like you don't want to go there. You don't want to dive into the deep because you're scared of, you know, facing them. I feel like you don't realize like how strong you actually are, because you feel like you don't have the strength to confront a lot of these hard feelings that you have sometimes. And so you would much rather like take any opportunity to get away from that, whether it's working too much or, socializing too much. I think it's going to be different for everybody, like this, how you escape. But yeah, that's kind of the whole point here is for you to get away from yourself. You don't want to have to face your thoughts and feelings. So you will gladly be a hero for someone else because, that way you'll feel better about yourself where maybe you weren't before. Whatever you have like going on within you that is so hard for you to face, like I think you'll do anything to help yourself feel good again. Anything but like facing your feelings and, sorting those out. So it's like you don't feel like you have this strength to really reflect and honor your feelings, in the way that other people might. Let's see, the skeleton card. And so on this card, you can see that his skull is like cracked and damaged. It's like you would do anything to avoid your feelings or thoughts. It's like you'd rather take a hammer to the head, so you don't have to like deal with your thoughts. Wow. Then we also have this emptied card. It says the ending and beginning lie at either side of the same door. And as you can see, it's like this woman is just lying like sideways. I'm not really sure what is supposed to be on her body. I'm not really sure what that is. I thought it was a fruit at first, but I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. But she's kind of like out of it. I don't know if she's like sleeping, but she feels empty. And also like with this skeleton, like he's hollow. And so it's like you feel like your feelings are just not even worth exploring or acknowledging because you feel so like empty inside. But the reason you feel empty is because you're avoiding, facing a lot of things that you feel. It's like you would rather feel nothing than feel everything. And that's why like you will take any opportunity to distract yourself from this. Then we have this today for tomorrow card. So this is saying like what changes like can you make today to help you have a better tomorrow? Because I feel like you guys really like put off, your own personal situations like for another time. You're like, oh well, I'll deal with this later. But again, this has to do with you. This isn't about other things like, in your life. Like this is your personal stuff that you kind of put off. So I'm trying to think of an example. Like maybe you're in like an unhappy relationship, right? And it's like, you're not happy, but you don't really want to think about the fact that you're not happy because it's going to make you even unhappier, right? And so, you might be overworking or socializing in order to take your mind off of that, your unhappiness. You're trying to like fill the void, with other things instead of actually having a fulfilling relationship. So this is saying, instead of suffering the same unhappiness and emptiness tomorrow, it's like, what changes can you make today so that you can have a more fulfilling tomorrow? You have to think about, how are you going to be feeling about living this type of life like 5-10 years from now? Are you okay with that? Or are you going to look back and wish that you had made different decisions? So instead of like putting off, your thoughts and feelings for another day, I mean, you could do that forever. But at some point, you're going to have to face these uncomfortable feelings that you have within yourself and stop avoiding them, stop escaping, and really dive in and explore, why you're feeling the things that you do. You owe it to yourself. This card says honor yourself. You owe it to yourself to do this. Instead of living life for everyone else, you need to also, live your best life for you. Because the more that you avoid your thoughts and feelings, the more empty you're going to end up feeling, because you're not nourishing yourself and what you need. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look into the tarot. All right, group 4. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This did not happen for any of the other piles, so I feel like you guys have a lot inside of you that you're not acknowledging because your feelings are just like spilling out clearly. Okay, so let's see. You have the 8 of Swords, the 5 of Wands, the 3 of Cups, and the 7 of Swords. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I am not shocked at all to see these cards. I mean, the 7 of Swords, I mean, that is escapism at its finest. And then we have that paired with the 3 of Cups. So some of you, not all of you, but some of you might use alcohol as a form of escapism and trying to numb out your feelings. So, just take that if it resonates. That's not for everybody. But I definitely see that here. And with the 3 of Cups, this could be going out, socializing, partying. I'm not saying that you're at home alone drinking. Like, no, that's not what I see. But I think that some of you, might have the potential to, maybe party too much or party too hard, because you feel like drinking is like a fun way to avoid, feeling the things that you feel on a daily basis. And we also have the 8 of Swords. So yeah, this is, and she's literally like on this card, she's like a mummy in this coffin. It's still a coffin, right? If it's a mummy, I'm not sure. But yeah, so, oh gosh, maybe some of you feel like you've already made your bed and you feel like you have to like lie in it now. Because the fact that she's already like tied up and, in this coffin, I do feel like some of you guys are in a situation where you're not happy, but you feel like you're kind of stuck in, and you feel like maybe there's no way out. So let's see, we have the 5 of Wands. Honestly, I feel like this is like it's like you have this battle like going on within you constantly, of where it's like this back and forth, like I'm not happy, like I need to, change my life, I need to do this and that. But then there's like this other side of you that's like, no, we've made our bed, we have to lay in it. This is it. We've made our choice. Like there's nothing we can do. So it's just this constant like back and forth within you. And so I can understand like why you would want to numb that out or just do anything you can to take your mind off of this because you feel like there's nothing you can do, even though you're not happy with your current situation. And so it's like you'll take any opportunity to not have to think about this anymore. You're just constantly like running away from these feelings of unhappiness instead of actually taking the changes necessary to get yourself out of this unhappy situation. So it's really important for you to like gather up the strength and courage to actually make these positive changes in your life so that you can have a happier tomorrow. You know, instead of just feeling empty all the time and unfulfilled and unhappy. It's like, when are you going to honor yourself instead of pleasing everyone else around you? So you're really being, this sense of escapism is really being illuminated for you, just to show you that this is a coping mechanism that you're doing like currently in your life, instead of actually facing your feelings and doing something about that. You're just avoiding a lot at this time. And so this is your shadow currently. It's just not honoring yourself, and you're not really being true to yourself at this time. So let's see. Is there anything else? Oh, look at this. The Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So I feel like for some of you, you could be stuck in like an unhappy relationship, but you feel like you're kind of like too deep in it to really get out now. We also have the Three of Wands. So I feel like you would like to have like a different future for yourself. I think you've thought about this a lot. Like, okay, well, I'm not happy. You know, what would make me happy? And so I think you've thought about like kind of a different life, like what that would look like for you. And you're kind of like hoping and wondering like, well, maybe things will change, you know, maybe, you know, my time will come where, you know, my circumstances are different and I'm able to live a happier life. But I just don't think that's going to come to you unless you actually make the changes that are necessary to make that happen. I think you're just kind of like hoping and wishing for the best. But at the same time, like, you know exactly the situation you're in. And yeah, I do see that you would like a different future for yourself. Right. I think you've kind of lost that zest for life, you know, because of your unhappiness. And so I think you're kind of starting to seek that, you know, outside of yourself, like any way that you can to kind of bring more excitement and happiness into your life, even though it's not really authentic for you. It's like you're just taking any opportunity you can to bring more of that into your life, to make up for the emptiness that you feel inside. But yeah, if you can gather up the strength and courage to make changes, like, you can have a more happy and fulfilling life. But you need to decide this for yourself and decide to honor yourself, because it comes down to you and your happiness. Are you worth making these changes so that you can live a happier life? Yes, absolutely you are. But you have to come to terms with this on your own. Okay, group 4, I think that's all that I have for you. I hope that this reading resonated. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.